Hi everyone. So, who knows about checklists? If you don't, I do. I have checklists for everything. I have checklists for work. I have checklists for church. I have checklists for home. I have checklists for everything, for so many things, right? And so with those checklists, I feel like as long as I check everything off, and complete everything, then, I'm good to go. I'm good at work. I'm good at home. I'm good at church, right? And this week, God taught me a lesson. So Monday, Monday or Tuesday morning, it was one of those mornings, I ended up getting a text message as I was getting ready to go. I ended up getting a text message, and not a text message, an email from Mark's teacher. And that email ended up talking about a service project that was due the previous week. And I looked at that and I was like, hold on, no, it's not due until the 20th. Nope, it was due on the 12th. Literally, when we were told about that project on the 4th of November, Mark and I literally sat down, worked through it, and we were going to actually end up recording, because that's what they had to do for the project. They had to record their idea and draw a picture about it too. And so the only reason why we didn't do it on the 4th was because the teacher told us about the assignment but hadn't put it in Seesaw yet. And I ended up actually emailing her and everything. It was crazy. Anyway, so I thought it was the 20th, and so I just kept putting it off after that. And I got the email and realized, oh my goodness, I missed this for my son. I told Mark about it, and Mark was devastated. He was, it looked like he wanted to cry. He was saying like, oh my goodness, the teacher's going to think I don't do my work. And then that made me feel horrible. And I just felt like an awful mom. I know I'm not, but I ended up feeling like an absolutely awful mom. And so, like, literally to the point of tears. So I'm like, no, I've checked off everything, but I missed one thing. And so I ended up texting some of my friends, and one of them was like, you know what, Tronda, we're not perfect, and we shouldn't expect to be or have anyone think that we are. If we were perfect, then we wouldn't need God, right? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. And then I actually had another friend end up texting me, and she was like, hey, give yourself some grace. And so when thinking about giving myself grace, and when thinking about the fact that we aren't perfect, God is so great, because he ended up allowing me to reflect on his grace and how we don't even stand a chance, even with checklists. I think so often, we as Christians also, try to make a checklist, for Christianity. And if we really could complete all of the things on that list, then we wouldn't have needed Jesus to die for us, right? And so thinking about John 3:16, about how much God loved us so much, knowing that we would need his grace, knowing that we would fall short, just like I did with Mark's project. But he loved us anyway, and he sent his son for us to die for us so that we could have a chance at eternal life, so that we could have eternal life. That was my lesson on grace. And one of the things, like I said, that another friend ended up sharing was, you need to give yourself grace. And so when I thought about that, I thought about if God gives us grace, loves us so much and gives us grace, then how much more do we need to give ourselves grace? But not just ourselves, but also others. So as you go throughout this week, think about that. Ponder on God's grace. Think on God's grace. And not only just God's grace, but think about giving yourself grace. just in everything, about giving yourself grace and then also giving grace to others. I know that's something that I have to work on. I still struggle with myself. But again, if God gives it to us, who are we not to give it to ourselves or to others? So you guys have a wonderful week. Think on God's grace. Be thankful for God's grace. Have a good one.